right club. Be the right club today.
Johnny, that's better than most.
How about in?
That is better than most. Better than most.
Expect anything different?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast, the No Laying Up live show presented by our friends at High Noon. My name is DJ, coming to you live from Luke Air Force Base, where we're expecting another flyover any minute from our friends at the Blue Angels. We are also joined by my associates, my friends, Randy. Randy, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Excited to be back. I think flying with a Blue Angel would be among the coolest things anybody could ever do. Something on my bucket list.
I agree with that. I'm worried I would pass out.
For sure.
Also joined by our lead president and CFO of the Tommy Fleetwood Appreciation Group, Tron Carter. Tron, hello. How are you?
Yeah, and the founder and chairman of the TC Vision Fund as well.
Which is getting less press these days. I think you're trying to lay low from that one.
Yeah. No, I'm great. You know, we kind of battled through today. Also, I would just say, I don't think it needs to be a Blue Angel. I think we could go up in any sort of fighter jet, you know, a MiG, an F-15, F-35, any of those, and it would be freaking cool.
Honestly, even a simulator at this point. We'll take all this offline, but I think we got a lot of good things to build on there. We are, as I mentioned up front, of course, brought to you by our friends at High Noon. Summertime is here, Randy, which means the limited edition High Noon pool pack is back. It's got lime, it's got peach, it's got 2 limited edition flavors. Randy, you know the limited edition flavors?
Guava
and
kiwi.
That's exactly right. I grabbed a guava today
because I was grab one.
I was dying for some flavor. I think this leaderboard might be lacking just a little bit of flavor. I know TC is going to quibble with me there, but I needed a good punch in the face after a bit of a sleepy afternoon. So I grabbed a guava. Randy, you know High Noon is made for days by the pool, on the green, even lakeside. TC, you guys don't have lakes down there. At least not lakes you can spend any time in.
No, we got gators in the lakes and that blue-green algae.
Yeah, very reptilian. But me and Randy are beating up the lakes this time of the year.
We got lakes. You know what Denver doesn't have? We don't have any pools.
I know. That's true.
It's the most unpool friendly place I've ever been. It's crazy.
Luckily, it's a very versatile.
Pack.
It's a very versatile drink, Randy. You can also drink it out on the golf course, which I do frequently, almost unanimously, almost 100% of the time. High Noon pool pack is only available this summer, so get it while you can. Made with real vodka, real juice, 100 calories, gluten-free, no added sugar. Look for it on Drizzly or wherever you get your High Noon. To find it near you, visit highnoonspirits.com. TC, let's start with you today, my man. What's story of the day? Where are you going?
Other than Blandy,
and I'm going to remind you before you get to story of the day that a guy's leading by 5 shots.
Yeah, I mean the story of the day is, Brian Harman going out and boat racing everyone shooting a 665. I mean,
I think that definitely is right. Randy, you got anything to quibble with there?
No. I didn't see any of it. You know, of course, watch the highlights, and so I'd say for the action that I saw, we had some guys rising. We had some guys I was hoping would rise. You know, Spieth got it up to 5 under, kind of came back. But we need Brian to come back to the pack,
which we're going to talk about. I'm sure we're going to get into how far back is too far back. We're going to get into all of our favorite games. But yes, starting with kind of the state of play, we've got Brian Harman 67-65 to start the Open Championship and build a 5-shot lead. He is trailed by Thomas Fleetwood at 5 under. Clutch putt on 18 there to get into the final group tomorrow. Sepp Straka sticking it to Solly at 4 under after he was flamed and castigated on our last Ryder Cup segment. We've got Min-Woo Lee, Him-Woo Lee, as you were calling him, Randy.
The kids are calling him that.
The kids are calling him that. I'm sorry. Yeah. At -3, we've got a Shabankar Sharma sighting at -3.
His birthday.
His birthday, no less.
And our guy David Ruff's birthday as well.
That's right. Shout out to David Ruff. D-man, hope you're doing well. Jason Day at -3, Adrian Otaegui at -2, Emiliano Grillo -2, Jordan Spieth at -2. Just a mini preview of going down the leaderboard. We're gonna have a guest popping in just a little bit, but let's kind of start with some of the the moments of the day here, the stories of the day. Randy, let's start with Brian Harman. What do you feel looking at a 5-shot lead from Brian Harman after 2 rounds of a major championship?
I feel like it's an unbelievable 2 days of play. I mean, he's plus 9 strokes almost, shots gained putting. Incredible result. TC shared something like he hasn't missed a putt inside 10 feet yet through 2 rounds. So all credit to him. This does not feel sustainable at all to me. I think, honestly, guys, here's my question to you. If Harman could sign up right now for a couple of 72s on the weekend, you got to think he would do that without second thought, right?
I think that's right. I think -10 is a great score. Just looking at
that would put him at -8.
That would put him at -8.
I'm sorry. Par 71.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
That's an
-8. That's interesting. That's a little more interesting.
There's not going to really the wind isn't going to howl. I don't think. It looks like they've tempered the wind forecast for the weekend, especially for Sunday. It looks like it's going to be a little wet. Course maybe softer as well. So I don't know. This could have been the hardest of the conditions this afternoon.
I think they might have a little bit of wiggle room on setup stuff. It still looks like a ton of pins were tucked, right? There's just so many pins tucked right behind bunkers, and it's kind of one of those even if it's whether it's firm or not, you can only get so close to some of these. So I think if they wanted to push that a little bit and they wanted to set it up to chase, they could maybe create some more birdies out there. But through those first 2 rounds, I mean, you saw it with kind of the what we'll call the B flight, taking everybody except Harman out. That number didn't move forward at all today, right? Nobody really moved the ball forward. We had a couple -4s. Sepp Straka and Jason Day had a -3 out of Min Woo Lee, but other than that, it's a lot of 69, 70. Nobody really going crazy low, even with pretty scoreable conditions.
My guy Foxy,
of course,
that's 67 as well.
Of course, after kind of a Lazarus moment from your guy Foxy today.
Let me put my media hat on for a sec here.
What's the storyline, TC? Tell us about storylines.
Harman's got 26 hours off.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
It is.
And also, I feel like Harman would be the most non-fitting British Open winner or Open Championship winner. I don't think that guy likes the monarchy at all.
You're talking just pure personality wise.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I kind of like. I think that's sick.
I'm not going to quibble with you there. I think maybe you could put John Daly up there in that conversation. I think maybe still takes the proverbial crown from Harman there. I weirdly want to say I think there's something kind of romantic about the way he plays the game, though. Yeah. From a British Open standpoint, he just kind of figures out how to get it done, man. And that's where, Randy, to your point on sustainability, do I think he's going to continue to make every single putt that he looks at? Probably not. I think the smart money would be he might make at least 1 bogey on the weekend, I would think. But that said, this is a guy that's been around for a really freaking long time. We saw him in, he had the 54-hole lead at Erin Hills. He didn't shit his pants there. I mean, he shot even par and, just got beat by a really, really good round by Brooks. But I mean, this Brian Harman's career really, I don't know, it just really impresses me. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not, TC, you've got your media hat on. I know it's not something that you guys are going to write a lot of stories about. The media won't cover this, but I think it's one of those guys that when you get your card and then you just keep it for a decade and you just kind of blend into the fabric of the PGA Tour. I know that's kind of what all of this live stuff is about and trying to keep some of these guys from earning colossal paychecks, but it's also really freaking impressive to be able to play that high level and just be a pro for that long.
Yeah, no, it kind of reminds me of Jamie Moyer's career.
that's he's got another 2 decades to go before he gets.
He probably does. He's probably going to harvest people's souls on the Champions Tour. No, yeah, he's never come close to losing his card. He doesn't have the distance to dominate with that club, with his driver. It's just always been like the guy knows how to play golf.
Yeah.
And it's been like that for as long as he's played golf. He's
Do you
been
wanna-
really freaking
How about this? I'm and this is just breaking, and I can confirm this now that Brian Harman finished tied for 6th last year at the Open.
How about that, Randy?
And not
he was,
only that,
12th last week at the Scottish.
well,
And he
and
played
not
well at
only
Aaron
that,
Hills in kind of
Exactly.
some linksy conditions.
I
Might be
was
the
going to
links master.
say last year at the Open, if you'll remember, I didn't. He opened with a 73.
Yeah.
And then went 68, 68, 66.
People forget that, Big.
So this
People
is
forget that.
5 straight rounds now for him in the Open Championship that are just exceptional.
And again, I also finished 12th last week at the Scottish. So the guy's on quite a heater, man. He had some good quotes today about looking back to it would have been the Scottish Open last year. He was like 13 over through 2 rounds, missed the cut by a mile, came out and shot 73, like you said, in that first round at St. Andrews, and then just really like I don't know what flipped or what he figured out, but just absolutely figured it out and hasn't really looked back. But TC, you and I feel like I've talked about this a long time because you grew up in Georgia, and one of my first jobs was covering college golf at Golf Week. And I can't really speak to his junior career, but I know even like by the time he got to college, the guy was such a freaking predator that it's just, I don't know, man. I think he's one of those guys that, like, if he was born in a different era, I think he would have been much more of a world beater at the professional level.
I totally agree. Yeah, he always wore those Titleists, those like sweated out Titleist hats.
He might have stolen that hat from me. I
Wore a
saw that
ton of-
photo and I was like, no,
Yeah.
that's my hat. I don't know how he got it.
Wore a ton of polo stuff. He was wearing the current version of the FootJoy stuff like 20 years before it came out. It's the cap-toed shoes and all that. And then at Georgia, he made Ricky cry.
He did. He harvested his soul, I think, at the it was the 2009 NCAAs. Really, really good. The two best players in college golf. First year of match play, first round of match play. They get matched up against each other. Get to 18, it's all square. Harman, of course, he had some like very dramatic quote, in the telling of the story to Chris Hack, his coach, like, I'm not ready to be done yet, or something like that, and goes out and makes birdie, sticks it to Ricky. Ricky starts crying, walks off the green. It was the end of his college career. So not only that, but like killer at the Walker Cup. I think he's the only guy. I looked this stat up. He was like the 4th guy to win AJGA Player of the Year twice. And the other people on that list are like Tiger and Phil. And I forget who the other one was. I'll track. Oh, Tracy Phillips, TC. I know that was. I was
going to say that.
No, I know that was on the
Phil. Yeah, man.
tip of your tongue. But yeah, he's just, I don't know, just one of those guys that like has been in my consciousness for a really, really long time, and it has never clicked in the pro game for a myriad reasons, right? But every now and again, man, you catch one of these majors where the conditions are right, the golf course is right, his game is firing, and he just kind of like looks like he just looks like a killer. So I don't know, Randy, all of that's a very long-winded way of saying, like, do I think it's sustainable to keep playing the way he is? No, but like, do I think he's going to go shoot 80-80? Like, absolutely not.
No,
where do you guys stand on that?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to shoot 80-80, but you just got to think he's going to hit some squirrely shots. He's going to make some bogeys, and I'm really curious to see how he responds. If he can make enough birdies. I guess my natural inclination was I'm not necessarily worrying about him as the tournament leader, which sounds insane with a 5-shot lead. But he could, like I said, I do think if he just goes out and shoots 72-72 or 71-72 or 73-71, it's going to be really tough to beat, which is starting to get me a little nervous, guys.
Totally agree. Ben, I know you flashed it up there earlier for the YouTube audience, but can you put that stat up from PJ Tour comms again, just so we can read this into the record for the podcast audience? This is from PJ Tour Communications. Brian Harman holds a 5-stroke lead at the Open Championship, becoming the 9th player in the last 40 years to hold a 36-hole lead of 5 strokes or more in a major. Each of the 8 previous went on to win. So I don't know, Randy. Does that change your mind at all?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to argue with, but you also got to feel like it's going to happen at some point. And he's
Records
looking at that list of names. I don't know. He's probably the least accomplished of anybody on that list. So the previous iterations for those
Louis,
on the
maybe.
Scheffler.
I would say, earlier you said like his things haven't clicked for him. I would argue like they have clicked. I think he's won twice on tour. He's got some yellow on his Wikipedia page. And earned yellow, not stolen valor yellow. But I think down the stretch, like I think 14 and 18 are going to play a pivotal role tomorrow as well. Like that 5-shot lead could evaporate. He could have a 5-shot lead going into 13 or 14, and then it could be a 1-shot lead by the end of that.
100%. I know it's like an outrageous comp golf course wise, but even hearing, I think in maybe it was the Golf Digest preview video, or maybe it was the podcast that he did with Solly. I don't remember, but the Martin Ebert talking about 17, almost like a sawgrass type of hole. And I think the whole finishing stretch almost has a little bit of sawgrass to it, right? Yeah. Even if people haven't made that connection yet, it's like, man, you could have a 4-shot lead going into, like you're saying, Tron, you have a 4-shot lead going into 14 or 15 or 16 even, and it's very, very, very far from over. We saw what Matt Fitzpatrick did today on 17. We've seen what people have done on 18 all week already. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's different if you can hit 5-iron off that tee on 18, but you still got to get through 17. You still got to hit a lot of really good shots going through coming down the stretch.
I think also it's just, I know Birkdale's got 2 late par 5s, but those aren't necessarily gettable par 5s. Like I know, this one is there's 2 birdie/eagleable par 5s down the stretch.
Right.
When we'll get to Tommy, I'll take my media hat off when we get to Tommy, but we can talk about strategy on 18 and all that, but we've got another Harman factoid here. I think.
Can I roll one more factoid by you guys? So I was, of course you guys come to this podcast to listen, get facts, get stuff you're not going to get anywhere else. So of course I went to pjtour.com at his bio page. Randy, I'm going to read off a couple Brian Harman factoids for you. Number 1, golf is the only thing he does left-handed. There's a lot of absolutes on this list as we're gonna find. I don't.
And he doesn't like to be called a lefty.
Well, we've only got one source on that. We need to why don't we track down another source on that one. His biggest thrill outside of golf is bow hunting. Randy always uses a quarter to mark his ball, pushing the definition of fun fact. Follows all Atlanta pro teams and the Georgia Bulldogs. And then Randy, I really want to throw this one by you. It says here, this is pjtour.com. All family members are world-class scuba divers and spear fishers, which leads me to believe he either has like a 2-person family, 1-person family, or this is maybe just a bit of a stretch, or maybe hasn't been updated in like a decade and a half. I don't know. I was really taken back by that idea that everyone, but just a picture last time you're at a family reunion or something, just looking around the tent, looking around the park, just thinking every single one of these people are world-class divers and spear fishers. That would
I'm gonna push back here.
You think it's accurate?
He has an 8-month-old at home.
True. Exactly.
There's a 7-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son.
Yeah, I hate to do it, but I'm gonna call some BS on that one. I just have to.
We need that updated, please.
We wouldn't be doing our jobs if we're not calling BS on some of those facts.
Also, I mean, spearfishing. I don't even know why we call it fishing. It's like underwater hunting.
It's true. Kind of, there's like some.
It's like underwater bow hunting.
It's like it makes him sound like he grew up in the Avatar, the Way of Water family or something like that. But we might have a guest rolling in. We might not. I don't know if they're going to pop in. So stay tuned for that, folks. But before we get there, let's talk Tommy, shall we?
Yeah, let me take my media hat off. Hold on.
TC, let me buy you some time here. Tommy was careening off the guardrails coming in. It was a true, like, getting that car in the garage in the nick of time between the mayo and the mustard.
Speaking of it in the nick of time, I think our guest just joined. He could hear his ears burning. We're going to bring him in. We're just chopping it up and talking shit about playing in the Open Championship. This guy's done it. Of course, it's Eddie Pepperell. Eddie, greetings. Where are you in the world right now?
Sorry, guys. Tron told me. Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
We got you.
Tron told me 4:30, and then the producer said 3:45, and I've been at dinner. My partner's girlfriend, so some poor information there from Tron, which is not the first time.
We bumped up all the guys coming in, down the stretch are fluffers. So
I think it might be because I'm guessing Marcel Seam was on the coverage, and so you thought, sod down, not for 2 days in a row.
No, we had him penciled in. He was going to call in, and he fell through at the last minute. So,
Yeah.
Eddie, thanks for hopping on. I know just from following you on Twitter, you've been watching a lot of golf this week. What's been the what's been kind of most interesting thing you've seen? What's your biggest takeaway so far?
So I watched quite a bit yesterday. I've been on holiday rather in Ibiza, so not partying, but resting up. And I didn't watch much today, but I saw quite a bit yesterday, and I thought the course was the winner. Really, I thought it played absolutely tremendously. I played Hoylake years ago as an amateur, and it was honestly playing like a car park, so I didn't have too many fond memories of it. But I thought the course played great yesterday. Definitely rewarding, great ball striking, particularly off the tee. We saw how penal the bunkers were. I know they messed around with them this morning a little bit, but I think with the forecast that's coming this weekend, it's going to be a real treat as a viewer to see guys suffer, quite frankly, and just have to deal with all the conditions that's going to be thrown their way over the next 2 days. So I think it's going to be exciting.
Eddie, we flashed a graphic up earlier. The last 8 instances of somebody holding a 5-shot or more lead after 36 holes, they've all gone on to win. This is in major championships. Brian Harman finds himself in such a position. 2-pronged question for you. One, if you were to hold a 5-shot lead in any of the majors, where would you most like to hold that lead? And then specific to Hoylake, what kind of course is it to try to hold a 5-shot lead?
That's a tough question, Randy. I mean, I suppose you wouldn't want to hold a lead at probably at Augusta, and I'm sure Greg Norman would attest to that. I honestly think, and I was thinking about this on the way home just now, with the weather forecast that's set, Brian has put himself in an incredibly good position because, it's going to be so difficult for guys behind him to go and shoot 66, 67. And he's given himself a real buffer ahead of third place. And obviously, Tommy is capable of playing 2 solid rounds over the next 2 days. But Brian Harman seems to me to be the kind of player that is playing extremely well at the moment, very solid golf, and actually could have a perfect game for the conditions that are coming in. He's just going to keep hitting it in front of him, which is exactly what you've got to do. And guys this weekend are going to have to adjust to a completely different type of golf. The ball is not going to be spinning as much. It's going to be wet. Guys who have been hitting it waywardly off the tee, which I don't think Brian has been, they're gonna suffer. And some players are going to have to play further back. They're going to be having taken 3-woods off the tees, hitting longer irons into the green. So it's definitely going to favour the guy who is comfortable doing that, adjusting his game, playing with longer irons, which is why I would be optimistic of Tommy too, quite frankly. I think he's swinging it great. But I do think the winner's going to come from Brian or Tommy. I know it's early doors still, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Brian take this lead on and go and win. It might be a bit of an anticlimax for the Open Championship, especially given the majors we've had this year. But fair play if he does.
We've got a question from listener Chris Solomon, who is deep on this block of how much easier it is for Harman being a lefty and hitting cuts, kind of hold off cuts against the wind in especially coming down that stretch, which I think you probably say the same thing for Tommy hitting draws coming down the stretch, right? As a righty, but I'm curious if you took any of that away.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. So you guys are way ahead of me on that. That's a great point. A great point. And again,
Solly, did you get that, Solly? You could screen record that
one. That's definitely something to consider. He's going to be adding spin into the breeze. It's going to be it plays in his favor. And I think the wind direction is set from the same direction over the weekend, although I don't think it's going to be quite strong. So it all looks good for Brian. I suppose the way it's going, the only thing that maybe gets in his way is himself. And the way people are talking that are close to him, it doesn't sound like it's going to happen. I feel a little bad because we had a committee meeting a few months ago and we were talking about the schedule next year on the DP World Tour, and there were some ideas floating around, and Keith Pelly was was quite open to the idea of getting more and more Americans over next year. And actually, one of the names he threw up was Brian Harman, and I kind of went into Keith a bit on the meeting and said, listen, with all due respect to Brian Harman, no one really gives a shit because it's not Scotty Scheffler. And I just texted Keith today and I said, Keith, we should be doing all we can to get Brian Harman over next year. So, fair play to him.
I'm a little bit worried. I mean, he's 8th in driving. He's 48th in approach play. He's 1st in putting. If he starts missing a few fairways, it feels...
Well, especially if it gets wet, right? Wet and long, and you get some of that. I don't know what the heather's like over there, Eddie, but it can't imagine it gets more fun the wetter it gets.
Yeah, I mean, the rough hasn't looked too penal from what I've seen. Guys have been kind of getting away with it. That's not going to be the case this weekend. That rough is going to become impossible to hit the greens from, I would say, on that back nine. When you think of the holes around the turn and into the early part of the back nine that seem quite long, tough par fours. To Tron's point, if you start missing fairways, it's going to be a case of scrambling. Now, clearly, he's a great putter, and that's going to help him. But I think if you average 12 greens around over the weekend, you're going to have probably hit the ball pretty well. So everybody, whoever wins, is clearly going to have to chip and putt pretty well. I think he'll do that. But I just think the buffer he's given himself, clearly he's playing well. He's put himself in such a great spot. It would be difficult to see how if he doesn't win, how he doesn't at least have he's going to have be in a great position, I would imagine, coming down the stretch Sunday.
He's low to the ground too. So if it gets windy, he's got that going for him.
That's true. We saw what happened to Christo today.
Yeah.
Eddie, I know you like to downplay your own game fairly frequently, but you had quite a special Sunday at Carnoustie, and I'm sure every time the Open comes around, you're probably thinking about that. I'm just curious what kind of any lasting memories of making that run in 67 at Carnoustie was like.
It was cool. I mean, I was playing with Phil, so this was both before both of us had midlife crises. I would say mine's come a bit earlier than Phil's. I think. Listen, clearly my game was in a different spot, and I had a few to drink the night before, which is famously said or infamously made reference to now. So I was pretty chilled and playing well, and it's kind of the opposite to where I've been lately with my game, where I've been working my ass off and playing poorly. So golf drives us all crazy. But yeah, it's a great championship. I mean, I think I've been fortunate enough to play them all now, apart from the Ryder Cup, and I would say that of all the events that I've played in, the Open is my favourite. It's, I think, the best tournament in golf. And if I was, if someone was to ask me if there's one major or one tournament you could win, it would be hands down the Open Championship for me personally.
What do you recommend Harman does? Like, he's got 26 hours off between tee time, or between finishing up and his tee time tomorrow. What would you do? Other than pop a few back, but that seems to be more of a Saturday night thing, not a Friday night thing. Yeah,
that's a tough question. I really wouldn't have any. I wouldn't have no clue. I don't know if he's got family with him. You could. There's all sorts of things you could do. That's such a long time. It's certainly an added difficulty, isn't it, to winning the Open Championship? That's an astronomically long period of time to have off between tee times. So. Whatever he's into, go and do it. I mean, I would consider driving home and walking the dogs and then maybe driving back up. But it's
let me put it this way. What's been your most stressful overnight wait?
Sorry, I'm just watching our two dogs chase fox through our garden. What's been the most overnight stressful to wait? I honestly can't remember. I wouldn't be able to answer that.
That's good. You must be doing it right.
Yeah, I'm not really stressed overnight. If I am stressed, then I'd maybe have another glass of wine. But generally, stress isn't something I suffer with, thankfully.
It sounds like we could send Harman down your direction and have him hunt those foxes.
That's true.
All right,
people helping people.
Yeah, maybe Keith's driving him down now in a private limousine, and I don't know.
Well, Eddie, yeah. I know you're on vacation. We won't keep you too long, but I appreciate you popping in and sharing some nuggets.
Oh, my pleasure. No, I'm actually back home now. You can probably see in the background we've got some wall color.
Oh, there. I was gonna say, I was like, man, what is your vacation garden that you got? You got your dogs
we're,
there, and how well do you travel, man?
We've got quite a few paint colors. We're trying to consider, as you can see, some neutral tones. In fact, Ibiza's one of them. So, yeah, that's the name of the paint. It's like elephant's breath or Farrenball. You probably don't have Farrenball in the US. You might well, but you should check.
We might need to import some.
Yeah, definitely import some Farrenball. They got some cracking paint colors like elephant's breath and dead salmon, and Brian Harman the third probably will appear soon. So, yeah, we'll see. No, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, man. Good to see you.
Thank you, Eddie.
Okay, see you soon. Bye bye.
See ya.
Cheers.
Boys, we are going to do another ad read. This is for our friends at Rowback. Randy, you're looking great in your Rowback. Folks, you all know Rowback. They just understand quality. Only one way to describe it, Randy. You know how to describe it? Best fit, best feel.
Fit,
Come
on,
of course. Now
it just hits different.
Kicking off the summer. It's the perfect time to load up on the best gear that we own. Performance polos hit different. TC, you took the words out of my mouth. Whether it's the USA designs or just the classic solids and stripes. I've got kind of this little polka dot, little mini polka dot one on that I really love. 4-way stretch, moisture wicking fabric. Polos will get you through a warm summer day on the golf course. Performance hoodies, that we are always talking about the hoodies, the softest, stretchiest hoodies in golf. And of course the Q-zips, Randy, you got any Q-zip mornings, Q-zip evenings going on over there? Probably a little.
I got
chill.
A little bit the evenings. Yesterday felt like it could have been a fall morning, a little early fall morning here. Rained, cooled things off. But I was gonna say, guys, I'm addicted to the hoodies. It's almost like I don't have room for anything else. It's just all hoodies all the time.
That's it. Feels like Randy. Feels like we can't go anywhere without spying the subtle dog logo or 2-striped ridge on the back. With summer in full swing, use promo code NLU on rowback.com for a generous 20% off your first order through the end of this week. That's spelled Rowback, RHOBACK.com. 20% off all polos, Q-zips, hoodies, and more with code NLU. The summer is calling, TC. Be sure to check them out now. Let's pick back
Randy,
up. I think we were talking to Tommy still. I think we were kind of mid Tommy conversation. Randy, you were talking about him careening off the side posts. Anything you needed to add there?
He got it in the garage, and I wanted to set TC up. TC, obviously, big day for you as a Tommy fan. How would you grade it? Were those cracks late? Anything to worry about, or are we more excited that he made some huge par putts?
Is there structural damage, TC?
Yes.
No, there's no damage whatsoever. I think it's like a semester. You're not going to ace all the exams.
Sure.
You're just hoping you can kind of recover from a bad midterm, or he skipped a couple classes. Now he went to office hours with some of those
shout out to Wolfie
putts that he made. Yeah. And I think today was overall, I would say probably right on the edge of C+ and B-. I think the two, he was rock solid front 9. He bogeyed 6 again. That one's kind of giving him some trouble. He was in that short right bunker on 6, and then birdie's 10, and you're like, okay, I see you. Like, made a long putt. He was playing such control golf, like absolutely controlling the distance on his irons, compressing the ball, drove it really well, and then hits the really bad putt on 13. That was kind of the first crack in the armor.
Blackout.
Yeah, that was, and it
ran it like 8 feet.
It wasn't
fast.
So much like the 8-footer. It was more like the one that led to it. It was just like nobody had gotten that putt to the hole all day, and then he sends one 8 feet by. It's like, whoa. And then he comes back on the next hole and like makes like one of the best birdies of the day on 14. You're like, okay, we're cooking.
Yeah,
that was
proper.
Yeah, I was having coffee with our guy Dom Catronio this morning, caddy at Aaron Hills. You may have seen him in the first Strapped episode, and we were just talking about caddying for guys, and he was telling a story of this one guy that first hole they get out there and he doesn't know what kind of player he's going to be, and He's like, hey man, just a 60% putt. Like if you roll it right over this mark, just die it right here, and this thing's going in. We're gonna be, let's start off the day right. The guy putted it off the green, and that's that's kind of how I felt on that Tommy putt. Was just like, all right, TC said to be fucking aggressive. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. He just runs it 8 feet past, and just gets punched in the mouth.
Yeah,
But,
no, I mean, I was thrilled. I thought he got out of the starting gates okay. Didn't make any bad mistakes up front. And then, after that birdie on 14, I was like, we are cooking. And then he makes birdie on 15 as well. Excellent birdie there. And then 16, he drives it right in that fairway bunker, like one of the worst bunkers on the course. And, has to pitch out. He's right there next to Scotty. And then, from there, actually like did well to make bogey from there, like hit a pretty poor third shot, leaves it, kind of short right in between this bunker. And it was just not a good shot. Really, really good shot to get it to where he did. Made a huge putt there. And then 17 sent one way past, missed left. I didn't think that was a bad miss off the tee. And made another huge putt. And then 18 is where I was kind of scratching my head a little bit there he was like 308 or 310 out and hit a 5-wood. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe he's trying to get it to 70 or 80 yards, but hits it up that left side. And I don't know. It was just like, it was kind of one of those like, yo, if you're going to lay up. And like, you're one of the best long iron players in the world, like hit a 5-iron and to 100 yards and, don't short side yourself.
He got a nice break on that third shot that it didn't just trickle into that bunker, because I think that would have been very tough to get towards the hole. And it was funny because we had seen Matt Fitzpatrick, who was playing a few groups ahead in the Spieth group, in a similar situation as Tommy on 18, and he kind of pitched out almost sideways to the front of the green, and I was like, that's curious. But then watching Tommy and how his ball reacted and rolled through the green made a lot more sense. I thought
people were coming at me for the TIO they had leading up to that as well. Granted, he went to the closest circle.
How many people are coming at you daily?
A lot, like hundreds, man. Hundreds. You should see the DMs even too. It's crazy. But like Tommy thought he hit the shot of the day. That third shot on 18, and it just shot forward off the bank there. But yeah, I thought missed one putt today that I wish he would have made. Otherwise, like everything, it's all systems go, man. I think he's a proper player in conditions. He's I don't think the iron player's gonna evaporate or anything like that. I think looking at his stats today, everything was, he was 31st, or he was 30th in putting, 56th around the greens, 81st in approach, 59th off the tee. So not his best day with the irons. And I think if he comes out and flushes it tomorrow a little bit more, I think it's all systems go. I was hoping he'd shoot 69, 70 today. He shot 71, didn't give anything back. And, I think Harman playing really well is the best thing, maybe not a 5-shot deficit, but like being a few back isn't a bad thing for Tommy. I think he's a chaser. He's a born chaser.
Keeping him aggressive.
Yeah.
I agree with that, TC. I was thinking about that too. I think the combination of being able to chase somebody, getting the 36-hole lead off your shoulders, it's always hard, I feel like, to lead a major tournament, any tournament, certainly a major, for 72 holes, which is what he was probably looking at or hoping to do. But then to be able to get in the final group, right? That's where I thought those putts on 17 and 18. Yep. So he gets to play with Brian. He's going to have all the crowd behind him. I think it is a great spot for Tommy.
I didn't really think about that. Not that I think Brian Harman's like some ego monster that like needs everybody rooting for him. I think it's probably kind of the opposite, to be honest. But that is going to be an interesting dynamic, man. Sleeping on a 5-shot lead for 26 hours. And then, getting out and like everybody in the entire country is rooting for the guy that's playing with you. That's not an ideal situation. It's a road game. That's a road game. DC.
And Harman seems like the type of guy that might thrive on that.
That's what I mean. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
I don't know. We had a lot of time off. Tommy, Finno, myself, between rounds as well. So that's what Harman's dealing with. tomorrow.
People were loving the we yesterday. It's a good, it's a good block.
Listen, it's we when it goes well. It's we when it goes poorly. All right,
True.
we.
Have we
We're a
booked a flight
team.
yet to Manchester? Or
I've,
no?
I've got a fare lock on one. I spent like $9 on a fare lock on Virgin America flight MCO to direct to Manchester. Would get me in at like 8 a.m. on Sunday. So
Just enough time for a scone and get out to the golf course.
yeah. Although I don't know, I haven't told my wife yet, so we'll see how tomorrow goes, and then we'll make a game time decision.
Have you told Tommy yet?
Either way. No, I was texting with Rue McDonald and a few other people over there. I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna show up and like not be able to get in or anything. That'd be tough.
God, tomorrow's a huge day for you and I would say your marriage, TC. Tommy plays too
for golf.
If Tommy plays too good tomorrow, you could be in deep shit.
You know, I'm just trying to slide into Neil's teepee.
That's true. I think he's taken off, so there might be
Hoping they'll have me for a nap, maybe.
Room in the wigwam, maybe when you arrive.
Yeah.
Randy, what's your macro outlook on Tommy? Let's just restate our positions a little bit for the historical record.
I listen. I like Tommy. I like Finu.
Okay.
I like Team Tommy. I think he's a great guy. TC, I couldn't look myself in the mirror if I let him off the hook for his lack of wins and, coming close in a number of majors without sealing one of these. So I gotta call him a fluffer. If I'm going to take that stand with Ricky and with Tony Finau, I simply cannot let Tommy off the hook. I don't feel like I would be doing my job.
But I think it is
as a media member.
I think it's an interesting disconnect though, because I think if you swap, Freaky Friday, Tommy and Ricky, I don't think you're necessarily rooting for Ricky in that spot. Whereas it seems I'm curious if you're rooting for, I don't think you're rooting for Brian Harman. I could be wrong.
No, I'm still rooting for. Listen, I'm rooting for the game first and foremost, but beyond that, I'm still holding out hope for Spieth or Max or I want to see a few more guys get involved. But if it comes down to Tommy and Brian, that's a tough call. I think I'd find myself rooting for Tommy. I guess. I don't know. Brian's a great story. I don't know.
This is another question coming in off the listener line here from very active commenter Chris Sullivan. Ask TC how he reconciles his Tommy takes with his Finau takes.
I mean, Finau's wildly old. Big Tone. He's 33. Tommy's 32.
That is a huge. Yeah, that's crazy. I never thought about it like that.
Tony's never shot 63 in the U.S. Open. Tommy's done it twice. Tommy's not one of the longest players in the world. They both struggle with putting a little bit, but I don't know. There's something with it there's something that Tommy stirs within me.
Tommy doesn't have a podcast.
Yeah, let's get it. I don't know. Yeah, Tommy's just, I'm ride or die for Tommy. God, I'm looking at all this stolen valor Wikipedia yellow for Tony as well. Like Tommy's at least been in the mix before.
I will say I think I would be lying if I didn't say, speaking on behalf of, I'm sure, a large swath of our audience, that a Tommy coming so close but not getting it done, there might be some deliciousness in that. And TC, that's
brutal, especially if it's no offense to Brian Harman, no offense to Sepp Straka, but if it's a kind of historically less than exciting victory and Tommy doesn't get it done, that's tough. That's a bit of a Ricky, again, no offense to anyone, Ricky Wyndham Clark situation.
I don't know. I mean, going back to Tommy too, he's won big dick events, right? And Tony hadn't. Tommy's won.
He's won like 3 Masters, Open. Right?
He's won. No, that's Fitzpatrick.
All right.
He won in Abu Dhabi back-to-back years. He's won the Nedbank twice. He won the Kazakhstan Open, for God's sakes. I don't see Tony going over to Central Asia and knocking off national opens.
As always, we know Tony didn't even win Big Break. So
exactly.
All right, you want to go down the leaderboard and cook a little bit?
Oh, sure. I would love to. I thought you'd never ask.
Speaking of, actually, before we get there, sorry, because I think this is instructive of going down the leaderboard. There was a lot of talk yesterday about fresh ingredients. The pantry was full. We had ourselves a really nice weekend on tap. I think the wine was open. Kind of, had a great night ahead of us. Some of those ingredients feel like maybe they're starting to turn a little bit. TC, we're I'm not saying we're making a shit sandwich here, but it's not really the optimum major championship leaderboard. I don't know how you're feeling just in from a macro sense on, the players we've got in the drama here.
Yeah, it's like Top Chef Manchester, Top Chef Leeds. We got a bunch of potatoes and cream and
right
broth,
just like leeks.
Yeah, leeks. A lot of root vegetables. You know? Of course, we did have an elimination challenge today, though, and
a lot of people got eliminated. I think Scotty was up for elimination for quite a while there, and just luckily had some people make some shittier scones than he did.
Yeah, he was actually in Last Chance Kitchen for a little bit there, and he's earned his way back into the competition in 18 there. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow we've got Restaurant Wars, but no, I think going down the leaderboard here, Sepp Straka's bringing some very delicious Southern and Central European flavors to the table. Many people are saying that he should be on the Ryder Cup team.
A lot of Vidalia onions, things of that nature, coming from
Vidalia
South
onions,
Georgia.
Some peanuts, maybe some peaches, and then some Austrian wine as well.
Exactly.
So no, I mean, what a great round from Sepp. What a great back nine. I mean, he birdied 6 out of his last 7 holes.
Back nine being gettable is just makes the tournament so much more fun. I mean, I know we kind of said that up front, but that's truly not out of it until you're out of it.
And then Minwoo Lee's bringing all sorts of global flavors to the table.
Big like molecular gastronomy guy.
Yeah. It's
got the dry ice and the
very unstable. He's doing stuff with the smoke. He's like Richard Blaze.
He's doing like the Alinea cheese bubble out there. Just all kinds of shit that could just totally blow up in his face at any time. But he could have a massive kitchen fire. But he's pushing it. I'll give him that.
He had kind of an extreme start there today too. He was 2 over through 4, and then eagled 5, and then clean card coming in from there. So. He's right there. I'm stoked to see him in the second to last group or third to last group, however they do it. We've got Sharma, we've got Jay Day, again, some other very interesting flavors. Day's got some Australian flavors cooking. Sharma's bringing some Indian, some curries and things of that nature. Maybe he'll get the Vindaloo roaring.
So hopefully, God, I hope so.
Otague bringing some Spanish flavors to the table. You might make a paella of some sort. Grillo. We've got the Argentinian. I mean,
I wasn't really trying to drive this metaphor home that hard, but there is a lot of great food countries involved here,
right? Spieth's gonna do Texas barbecue, of course.
Spieth and Cam Young, I'm not expecting much flavor wise out of it. I'm being honest.
I don't know.
Macaroni and cheese.
Actually, real good round from Day. I think Day probably deserves a shout out here. -4, like exceptional round of golf. Period. Point blank.
I saw a lot of Day. He was playing with Spieth. What do you guys make of Jordan? I mean, came out,
master.
Got 3 under through his first 6.
Yeah,
was tied for second at one point, and then you're going to make a couple bogeys. I thought 10 and 11, fine. Just couldn't quite get up and down from some spots. The bogey on 14 was what
15
irked me. 15, excuse me, the par 5. That's what really irked me. And his ball just trickled into the bunker off the tee. Little disappointed, then he missed he had a great shot into 17, missed the birdie putt there, and couldn't, found a bunker off his second shot on 18, couldn't birdie that. Is he a threat? Is he what's he doing? What are you guys making of Spieth?
I feel like TC, to put it in your parlance, he had that look in one of his eyes going out, right? Like watching him that first 6 holes was like, oh my God, this is could it be, is this the guy that we've like been waiting to see for 5 years now? And
And then he misses a 3.5 foot.
Right. And that's where it kind of becomes like, you know what, man, he's 8 shots back. Like, I of all people am not going to hold my breath, I think. And that,
But then again,
probably
like what
saying a lot.
happens if he goes out tomorrow and shoots like 67 or 68? And we're saying that, if Harman gets, just gets to -8 by the end, like, all right, that's 6 shots back on -8. Go out and post -4, -5 tomorrow. He's certainly hitting it well enough.
Yeah.
He kind of feels like a sauce that's about to break, like a béarnaise or something. And you're trying to save this sauce, but it's been under the heat lamp for too
we need
long.
fucking hands over here, TC. We got to get this thing out.
Exactly.
He's so. It is. If it gets nastier, do you have more faith in him or less?
Weirdly, almost like the same, right? Like he's gonna play like this weird high wire act, like no matter what it does. I think there's gonna be like brilliance and chaos in there, almost like no matter what. So I guess to your point, like maybe that I don't think the brilliance goes away if the weather gets shitty. Like I think it'll still be there. So I guess it's a net positive, but I don't know. I'm struggling to hold my breath. I just feel like I've seen it a lot of times.
He didn't putt very well today. He's not driving, like he's driving it okay. His irons have been great though.
Yeah.
Which is, that's where it kind of gives me, I'm like, all right, like I'm betting on the iron players tomorrow. The guys that can, because I think guys are going to be laying back off the tee a little bit and, trying to keep the course in front of them if it's, if it's shitty out.
I'm just hoping for something in the 60s. 69. I think he starts the day at 8 back, and I think if he can shoot 69, he's gonna cleave that in half. I really think he's got to act like Harman doesn't exist. Like, listen, Harman's either gonna win or he's not, right?
Yeah.
But I think he's got to chase
Fleetwood and see what
exactly.
happens. Yeah,
exactly.
Good take.
Cam Young's like kind of the same story from today, right? Like goes out early, or goes out not early, but goes out early in his round, -3 on the front 9. -4 on his first 10 holes, and then same thing. 14 and 15 are like massive holes. I mean, those are 13's a cool par 3, and then 14's like buckle up, got to get off the tee, and then 15 is you're trying to make birdie, and you can make bogey pretty easily. So I don't know. Good to see some signs of life from Cam Young. We kind of rebooted him, we turned him off, we plugged him back in.
Needed a system update.
Yeah.
He's been running real buggy for a while there.
We got Matthew Southgate, Thurston Lawrence, the rib, -1.
Kind of a gutty round from the rib. I'm not going to give it, too much high praise. It's a little bit like the Spieth situation, I think, of like, man, it was, I'm not saying it was there for the taking, but we certainly could have moved up the board quite a bit. We needed to be in kind of that like 68, 67 range today, I think, to make it really interesting, but it's going to be, I mean, he keeps doing it during the majors, man. He's what, T11, and I got to think he's only going up over the weekend. Whether he's going to go up to 1 or not is kind of the only thing people care about probably, but it's a true, got to hand it to him for just continuing to top 5 in like every major.
The pro. What do you think?
Roller coaster. Kind of psycho scorecard.
Yeah.
Oh God, big time.
I'd be sick if they broke the sound barrier right outside your place.
Shout out my guy Chuck Yeager.
Pictures are rattling on my walls over here, guys.
Listen, this week, sorry, my 2 cents about the pro. It's by far he's working on his best major championship week. So I think third round. First things first, like let's get a top 15, let's get a top 10, like let's put yourself somewhere in the conversation going into Sunday. So I think tomorrow's a big day for Maxwell.
Yeah, I agree. I think, we've said this a couple times, but these weird volatile rounds, right? You can kind of look at them one of two ways. It's like, man, if he cleans up the bad, it could have rocketed up the board, but at the same time, like, without all the bounce backs and without all the good, it could have been another one of those where, that sends them tumbling down the other way. So I think it's a pretty massive, like, I don't want to say a massive net positive, but I do think it's a positive that he didn't like play himself totally out of
It
control.
could have been like a 76.
Yeah, I think so too.
Totally. Yeah, we got some Guido Migliozzi, we got some Matt Stewart. Jordan hung in there. Matt Jordan.
Yeah.
Continues to be a good story.
I'll say
Stenson.
this. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, real quick to backtrack on Max. I think it's worth pointing out like how well he's hitting the ball tee to green, and he's just not really doing well around the greens, and he's putting it pretty pedestrian. Like not bad, but not great.
Yeah.
And if he can click, or if that ball striking can really shine through the next 36 holes, again, I think it's like Spieth. You just got to take Harman out of it. Like he's just got to go chase Tommy. And that doesn't mean he's got to go out and shoot 65 tomorrow. Like go shoot 68. And I think he can at least have a look on Sunday.
Here. I also think just from a, I know we've talked a lot of Ryder Cup already, but he was trending the wrong direction for, about a month and a half, 2 months there. And so he seems to be back on track. Just, whether it's at the Scottish, whether it was his last start before that, it was Quail Hollow, I think. But he seems to be playing a lot better golf, and not Quail Hollow, Detroit. Seems to be playing a lot better golf. And, from a Ryder Cup perspective, I think that's a massive thing too, and very well timed.
He's very much gonna hoover up a bunch of money late this summer. FedEx Cup, things of that nature, I think.
Yeah.
What else we got? Henrik Stenson. We got Stenson and Blandy carrying the banner for the Live boys.
Just as we all suspected.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add. That's wild, man.
I guess Otagwe, but he just served a suspension for
right
for like semi dipping his toe in the water, kind of like what Gooch thought he was doing.
You want to talk about Gooch?
We should just get it out of the way. Like Gooch, like have some pride.
75 today, 7 over for the keep scrolling there, Ben. It's going to be a while. T108 for Taylor Gooch, misses the cut again, and not trying to drive by, not trying to, do too much here, but just kind of bringing this up from the perspective of like the US Open is not a, valid golf tournament if Taylor Gooch is not in the field. Some of those takes, maybe just revisiting some of those. I'm like, man, if you're going to be beating the drum on some of that stuff, and I know he was not that explicit on all of that, but I don't know. His name was up. His name came across my desk way too many times for somebody who turned in these major championship performances this year, I think is kind of the way to put it.
Especially when somebody like Cam Davis, in the Fried Egg newsletter, our guy Andy was saying how shocking it was that Cam Davis isn't in the field. Like he finished, tied for 4th at the PGA Championship. And that's, very much like, all right, like if Cam Davis isn't in the field, then like I don't think Taylor Gooch should be in the field either, So Big Twone Rosner fell back a little bit today, 74. Who else we got? Wyndham played all right. Højgaard played well. A little bit disappointed in Victor. I was expecting to see something from Hovland today, besides the Listerine bottle look.
Which I thought was kind of sick, if I'm being honest.
I did too.
I'm very much of the case of like, yo, am I gonna go wear that? No, I'm not. But like professional golfer playing on TV, doing wild shit, like that's exactly what you should be doing. I'm all for it. He's doing it because I can't, and that's what it's all about.
I'm all for the stuff that he's got on this week. It's the stuff that he normally wears that are all the crazy, weird, like bad pattern stuff that I don't like. This color block stuff, and I don't know. I have no problem with this whatsoever. So, who else we got? We got Tom Kim. Got to give a shout out to. It's kind of a JJ Watt-esque performance there. You hurt or you injured, dog. Everybody was saying grade 1 tear in his ankle. Never heard a grade given to a tear in an ankle before. So
I've heard grades. I've heard grades with sprains.
With knees before, right?
Like around knees, and yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm with you, TC. Like, it sounded like, man, I think you maybe just like kind of rolled your ankle. I'm
always hurt when they're always tough when they're describing the injury as, he heard it coming off his patio.
Yeah,
like, oh, man, what a hell of a sport.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that gets much credit in the toughness column from me.
What else we got? Marcel Seam.
I think we're bumping. I think we got some tickets. I think we got some tickets backing up here, TC. I don't know.
Okay, real quick. Then we've got the Moronk Foxy battle.
Moronk, Fox, and Padraig. was, I believe, our head-to-head, me, you, and Solly, and it's
Did
pretty
Podrick make
close
the
right now.
cut?
Yeah, he's
He
tied with
snuck
Foxy,
in.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Foxy shot, what, 67 today?
Yeah, so we'll be monitoring that situation as it continues to develop. But I want to go through who like, I guess, disappointments, because I think that's a pretty big factor here. Is just, a lot of the, I guess, disappointment about the top end of the leaderboard means that the bottom of the leaderboard has some pretty big names on it. What are you guys feeling? Who's biggest disappointment? We've got Scotty limping in, barely making the cut. Rom's at what, 2 over, something like that. Cantlay shit the bed today. Ricky was a
shocking.
non-factor. Bryson's a non-factor. Morikawa a non-factor. Dustin shot 81. I mean, who jumps off the page?
Good question.
I know mine.
Please.
Did he make where did Cam Smith end up coming in? Did he miss the cut? Or did he sneak in?
No, he snuck in. He's a +2.
He's a +2.
Eagled 18.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, good on him. He was going to be because I think missing the cut is a whole different game than making the cut, obviously.
Especially when you're defending champion.
Yes, of course. But between Cam now at +2, Rom at +2, Scheffler, Koepka, they all made the cut. So I can't say it was like disaster, but personally just disappointed that those guys aren't involved. I think it'd make it a much more intriguing weekend.
I might give it to Brooks, to be honest. I after that PGA, man, I was kind of ready for him to be the dude for the rest of the summer, and because it was just really fun having him in the mix, and watching him kind of bow out on 18 today was a bummer.
Yeah. I don't know. I just keep looking at Rom. I think Rom, kind of played his way out of it yesterday, +3, shot 1 under today. He's T39 right now, but it's just like, it seems like he's running a little hot this week. He was going after the boom mic guy yesterday.
That was great. I support that.
I don't know.
I stand with Rob.
Hatton's another one. Like, I'm tired of like Hatton's kind of getting to that Cantlay Shoffley category a little bit for me, of like, hey dog, like, I'm gonna need you to like do like shit or get off the pot here. And
you've been sitting at this coffee shop for a long time, man. I'm gonna need you to fucking buy something.
Yeah, and that's kind of, like, I mean, Xander shot what, 74 today. That's exactly how I felt with him. Cantlay, I thought this was Cantlay's moment to stun all over me. Delta continues to have a bad week, and he shot 75 today. I don't know. It's tough to say like Scheffler. I mean, not to say Scheffler, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard just because it was, it's gonna come back to earth at some point, and he's gonna have a random bad round in there at some point, and he just hasn't played bad in a fucking year. So it's hard to pile on him, when he does have that bad round. But at the same time, it's like, man, it's gonna be tough to look back. I think when his career is wrapped up. Sorry, big ass plane going over my house. Hard to concentrate. It's gonna be hard when his career is wrapped up, I think, to look at how he hit the ball in 2023 and have his kids be like, "Oh, cool. How many majors did you win that year?" It's like, yeah, none actually. That's a bummer.
I think the most shocking thing with him so far is, putting's not been good, obviously, but he's 92nd around the green. The chipping's been bad, which is very uncharacteristic for him.
Anybody else? Should we talk golf course a little bit?
I mean, I don't know if they rise to, but like Shane Lowry, very disappointing. Colin Morikawa has missed 2 cuts since winning the Open, and it's disappointing. It's not good. It's not good, TC.
HE, Harris English.
Harris English.
Hate that.
And can I say another one? Like Dustin Johnson, what's he doing? Does he get a pass for showing up and shooting 10 over? Like, Dustin Johnson always fascinates me because he's had an awesome career. He's got 24 wins, 2 majors. And I also feel like it's a very disappointing career because, in my opinion, I don't feel like he's come close to maximizing his talent.
I think that's fair.
Here.
Also won 2 majors. I mean,
well,
one and a half.
he also hit the greatest hole of all time.
It's true, which people forget.
But like, he's shooting in the 80s, right? We're making a big deal out of JT, and deservedly so. But like, what Dustin? What you're?
But I don't think we've ever held Dustin up as some paragon of the game that wants to play into his 60s and like is carrying the mantle for golfers everywhere. Like Dustin's just always been, a mercenary guy that like he's like, no, I'm just here to play golf today.
This is a projection on my part, but I mean it seems like it's all upside for him at this point, right? And if he has it one week, like, oh, awesome, that sounds great. And if he doesn't, I don't think he's sweating it too much.
Yeah, I think he's probably got one
very
one more big
kinda,
run in him.
Kind of boring. Certainly not really like connecting with me on an emotional level, I wouldn't say, Randy, but I did bet on him for a top 10 this week, which was smart.
Like
money.
low key.
Hope you guys followed that one.
Low key, his major record isn't like that good. I don't know. He's just a guy that it's hard to. I don't know. Like you look at Mickelson. Like Mickelson is so much better than Dustin Johnson through like this point of his career and like through his 40s. And why is that? I don't know. I just feel like we let Dustin off the hook a little bit. Because it's like, oh, he doesn't care, so why should I? It's like, well, that's kind of like my issue, I guess. It's like, why don't you care more?
I totally am with you there. I think that's a great take.
Speaking of guys who, probably couldn't or shouldn't care, Bryson. Shout out to Bryson for grinding a little bit today. Shot 1 under par, +2, T39. Like, hats off to that.
I'm not taking my hat off.
That's all I got on Bryce.
Yeah. I'm not taking my hat off.
What else we got? How about Billy Horschel escorting the?
I know, Randy. You had your protesting friends were out there on the 17th, dropping some orange chalk, protesting, I believe, oil practices in the UK. Billy Horschel just continues to be the Forrest Gump of professional golf. Guys just involved in everything somehow, and just the photo of him just dragging the protester off the 17th hole, getting cheered by the crowd was just like, I don't know, weirdly fitting. I thought it worked.
Kind of a enjoy your jail cell pal moment that
Totally.
like we got from Webb.
Totally.
It was a little bit of the, somebody said it on our Slacker. There was a little bit of the you can't do that in a small town.
Yeah, try this in a small town, lady. See how that goes. TC, we got to talk about these bunkers, my man. We got to talk about the RNA capitulating to the whiny tour pros. If you missed this story, I'm sure you didn't, but if you missed this story, players felt, I'm sure there was more reporting on this, but players felt that the bunkers were raked too flat, and therefore their balls were winding up close to the lips, close to the revetted faces. And so the grounds crew was out there this morning, trying to basically like create almost like a rounded edge in the bunkers so that the ball would come back at least a little bit. We wouldn't see so many guys pitching out sideways. It wouldn't be quite so much of a penalty. TC, I mean, I know you were devastated by this news. Kind of ruined your whole morning, and you were trying to log off because the Tommy stuff, but you got dragged in. People were coming at you about it, I'm sure.
It was one of the first things I saw when I woke up this morning. And it was really, really tough. They increased the sand on the edges by one revet, and we just can't have that. Like, if we're gonna do that at the beginning of the week, we at least got to see it through till Saturday morning. Can't do it between Thursday and Friday. And just stand for something. Like, my guy Tommy, he benefited from it a couple times today. And I'm here saying that I wish he wouldn't have. I wish he would have dealt with the full extent of the law.
That's big of you. That's big of you.
Would have helped you sleep better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm very much with you in all seriousness. Like that sucked, man. I left yesterday as just like, finally bunkers are a full shot penalty. This fucking rules. Feed me. And I don't know, just the players I don't know when that's ever a good thing when the players get their way. I know I've got a lot of community on that take here.
And do it, do it like between Friday and Saturday. I feel like then, if they weren't sure if there was going to be a draw bias or not. In the event that there is, you can't do it between the two rounds. I don't feel like, especially on a links course. It's just keep it the same, the first 2 rounds, and then go from there. But
it's so
bunkers are
chicken shit.
hazards.
It's so chicken shit. Like, let's just call it what it is. It's chicken shit. Like, that's the way you set up the course. To stick with it. Everybody knows. Hey, you all played 1 round, so now like, don't hit it in the bunkers.
And like,
it's so stupid.
I think of all the organizations, like the fucking RNA, man, like they're the ones that seemingly have the most backbone and don't cave to the players and stand up for what's right in the game. And it's not, like we're going to listen to these whiny guys. No, it's like, we're going to have a backbone, and they didn't do that. It's so disappointing.
Yeah.
Here.
Man.
I agree. TC, we want to talk weather at all?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed with the forecast right now. It's a little bit, jarring, I would say. We're still supposed to get that wind switch on Sunday. This is, of course, the ECMWF, the Euro model. It's supposed to be pretty similar winds the next 2 days. 8, 9, 10 miles an hour. Not crazy gusts, nothing out of the ordinary. There's going to be some moisture, but I don't think it's too much to where it's going to make it miserable or anything either. It's just, I don't know. Like, overall, unless this changes, it looks like it's going to be relatively benign. So,
yeah, which even a little bit of moisture coming in is kind of like, we're at the point in the golf tournament where you could convince me that means either of the opposite things, right? Like, you convince me that, like, oh, Harman has no chance. That means the Bombers are going to come out to play. That means he's going to have to lay back further. Or you convince me that, like, oh, he drives it so straight, and that means he's got a leg up. I truly don't know which one's going to be which. It didn't sound like Eddie was all that convinced either, right? I mean, it sounded like he was more trending towards he's going to keep it in front of him, and that should be the benefit. But I don't know. I'm very excited that I don't know the answer, and I guess we'll see what happens.
We should have gotten after Eddie a little bit for his lone, Carnoustie appearance. There was a little bit of stolen valor yellow.
We should have mentioned that.
Yeah.
Can you dial Eddie back up? Tell him
I don't know. Solly's in the comments talking about, how it didn't play the way the RNA wanted it to play. Well, then, like, figure that out before the tournament, right?
Yeah, I would say they had
stick to your guns.
I'd say they had 9 years to figure that out. I don't have a lot of
Were we not
there.
playing practice rounds? Like, what the hell? That excuse doesn't carry water to me.
No,
commit to something,
that's not like, you can get me on, like, hey, the wind switched and we didn't think the wind was going to switch, and so the green speeds were too high and the pin location was no good. Like, that stuff happens, I get, but the bunkers get the fuck out of here with that. That
sounds like to me that Solly's doing the whole eye test thing here. He's relying on the eye test. I didn't like the way it played with the eye test. So I don't know. It's just, the way the draws work, don't do it between Thursday and Friday. Just don't. Don't cross me.
Guys, is it time?
Yeah.
I think it's time. TC, I'll pose the question to you first. How far back is too far back? Our leader is at -10 right now.
I think -4 is too far back.
-4 is too far back. Oh my God! So there's 3 players in this golf tournament. 2 players in this.
No, there's two players. It's actually a 1-horse race. It's gonna be a secretariat style thing going on.
That's captivating. That's not what I thought you were gonna say, Randy. Where you drawing the line?
I'm drawing the line at even par. I am taking the stance that Brian Harman does not exist, and therefore I believe 5 under to even. Your winner is going to come from that group.
I think I'm going to split the difference here and say 2. I think that's. I'm trending more towards you, Randy. It's like, if you're going to let anybody in, then that means Harman probably came backwards, and then all of a sudden there's a lot more guys in it. So I'm gonna say 2 is in, 1 is too far back.
Okay.
That's crazy though, to me, a little bit, right?
What do you mean? Oh yeah.
Well, I think under that reasoning, somebody at -2 is going to have to go and shoot great numbers, or else, what's separating Rory from Spieth, right? Like, Rory can go.
Well, it's going to have to be a combo of both. Like, somebody at 2 or better is going to have to play like really.
I think Brian I think Brian doesn't exist. I think you might as well.
These
dead to
are
the dog.
Ben. Ben is putting up the updated odds. These are, of course, brought to you by our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Randy, we already know you've got skin in the game. Everybody else, if you're looking to get a little action in this weekend, do that with our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Brian Harman, plus 150 to win. Thomas Fleetwood, plus 400. Tron, how you feel about that respect?
I feel like that's probably right.
Feels pretty fair to me.
Yeah, there's no bulletin board material there.
To your point, Randy, at -1, Rory McIlroy is plus 1,000. I'm actually changing my line to +1
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
Jordan Spieth plus 1,600. Himwoo Lee plus 1,800.
I think
Jason
that's a
Day
little
plus
bit
1,800.
disrespectful.
Those are both pretty disrespectful.
I was gonna say Day looks like some good value to me.
Yeah.
He played really solid today.
Sepp Straka already boasting the up and down of the century yesterday, plus 1,800. Cameron Young plus 3,000, and our U.S. Open champion Wyndham Clark plus 3,500. Those are the odds brought to you by the DraftKings Sports.
DraftKings, not Sharma believers.
No.
TC, this
Sharma
Rory being so much more favored than Spieth. I hope Team Spieth. You might need to drop a note to Greller tonight. Just
I will.
Some board stuff there.
I will. What else we got from today?
Last thing I had, I think, is KBV had a chance to catch up with JT today. You know, obviously he broke his streak of shooting in the 80s, 71 today, I think, from JT. And Kev asked him about a lot of stuff, asked him about his injury, you know, whether he's hurt, whether what's going on with the golf swing, and ended up writing that piece for the website tonight. So that's either up now or will be up shortly, but should be lots of thoughts on the JT experience from our guy KVV. Anything to add JT wise? I know we had another further robust Ryder Cup conversation internally today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it seems like a straw man that everybody's like, oh, like what's wrong with JT? Is he done? And it's like, no, like JT's clearly going to figure this out and be back. It's just a matter of when, right? So that doesn't mean I think he like deserves to be on the Ryder Cup team, but that's another conversation, I guess. I'm also a Team Europe fan, so you know.
Sure,
right.
Randy, you were mad as hell about the Ryder Cup, and maybe you want to save that for another time.
Well, you can get to it. I like JT's good and he's popular, but he's not that good to like auto include him on a Ryder Cup team when he
only plays with
such
one
poor
guy.
form. Right. Especially when you're telling me how much depth and this is like the pinnacle of American golf and we go 29 deep, then like let's get somebody who's actually playing well.
There was, I believe, some Zach Johnson quotes floating around there. I don't have them in front of me right now, but I think maybe Gabby Herzog got them. But, you know, he was kind of pretty non-committal. I feel for JT. You know, he's a hell of a player. We'll see what happens. Would love to have him on the team. Things of that nature. So we're going to talk about the Ryder Cup another 47 times between now and September. So I think we'll probably get to it. But just, you know, everybody should go read KBB. But
speaking of Ryder Cup, I do think Vincent Norman is warranting selection.
It's kind of kicking the goddamn door down, huh?
Yeah, he's second in Reno right now at plus 23. Of course, this is Stableford, and we all know where Stableford was invented.
Of course,
Dr.
Right
Frank.
here. That's right,
Dr. Frank, man, at Wallacey Golf Club down the coast from Hoy Lake. My guy Ryan Gerard. Hottest player in the world right now. Some are saying plus 30. We got to figure out how to get him into the Open.
That's right. Maybe a midweek entry. That'd be kind of sweet if they could promote guys from, almost have a qualifier within the tournament. I got nothing else, guys. I feel like my fucking house is under attack. I'm gonna have to go defend my domicile from the U.S. Navy here. You have no idea how much I've been muting the line, just trying to focus on thoughts. It's
you should let your senator Ron Johnson know.
Disturbing the peace right now. It's outrageous.
Guys, I got not much else either. I thought it was a little jebby coming down the stretch in coverage today. I'm just hoping for an exciting an invigorating Saturday morning, early afternoon of golf tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, the golf gods are putting a lot of weight on young Tommy's shoulders, storyline wise. TC, I don't know if you want to put your media hat back on, but there's not a lot else going on up there at the moment. So it's we kind of need Tommy to ball out and
God, what if
save
Harman?
this thing?
What
Could
if
be like
Harman?
8-shot lead tomorrow?
I know. I was just getting ready to say, what if Harman shoots like 69 and leads by 8? Oh,
Yeah. Could be
not
tough.
good.
It still wouldn't be as bad as like Scotty winning the Masters this year.
It's true.
No,
Worst
of
case
course
scenario
not.
for
Why?
the game.
By the way, why is nobody talking about Brian Harman for the Ryder Cup?
Dude, I'm here for that take. I'm here for that take. I tried to do a bunch of research today on his match play record. University of Georgia keeps horrible records. I'll put them on blast. Just awful SID records being kept by their golf department there. But he's been a killer. At least he was kind of like, I know it's been a very long time, but winning a US Junior, all the Walker Cup stuff he did,
played in
all
2
the
Walker
college
Cups.
golf stuff he did. I mean, he's a match play stud and a guy who would be an incredible course fit, I think, at Margo Simone. He's going to hit a lot of fairways. He's going to make a lot of putts. He's going to, he seems pretty unflappable from a like nerves and, he's been a pro golfer for a really long time. I don't think he's going to shrink from the moment. I think, I don't know. He would make a ton of sense for me.
I agree. He beat Reese Davies 6-5 at Chicago Golf
People
Club
forget that.
in 2005.
He was pairing up with our guy AK. It was an absolute killer.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think it's won his match at the Palmer Cup in 2007, his singles match there. Lost his singles match in 2006 at the Palmer Cup though. So
that could be what Zach Johnson's keeping him out on.
Yeah. And then guys, I don't have a whole lot of Amsterdam takes from today. It was mostly like I think we can save a lot of it for kind of the wrap show there on Sunday. So there's just too many fucking commercials. It's crazy.
I don't think that's changing between now and Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
Tea Times release. Solly was in the comments. Max is playing with Rory.
Wow.
Jordan's with Cam Young. Obviously, Tommy and Brian Harman is your final group, but those have been released.
We can't confirm. No layup.
I can now confirm.
Oh, Cantlay and Brooks again.
There we go.
Hell yeah.
Oh, maybe we'll get some drama. I don't know. Randy, to your point, if it's an 8-shot lead, I think we make it our duty to find something to argue about tomorrow. Let's just be on the lookout.
Challenge accepted. Yes, that's
he's got his media hat on. I think we're gonna figure something out.
One thing we didn't talk about, Matt Fitzpatrick, how sick that was.
That was awesome. You're talking about his double on or triple on.
I think it was a triple.
Triple on 17. Yeah. He got down in that waist.
He was
area.
almost fully buried at one point, which would have been awesome.
Yeah.
The fact that he got that one out of all of them was awesome. I love that. I want to see more of that.
Did you guys hear that one?
I almost thought I did. At what point, I almost thought he should take an unplayable. Go back to the tee. Try to hit a better one.
I think it's perfect, too, just because, his caddy was complaining about the bunker or that hole specifically beforehand. He was kind of saying some things that were like, I don't think this is the greatest hole. And sure enough, it, comes up to bite the weakest among us, the weakest mentally among us.
He was very there was a lot of high praise for Hoylake in general from Matt Fitzpatrick, but he was not wild about links golf. I don't think he likes the rub of the green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not even low Fitzpatrick this week.
True.
Alex,
that's kind of a fun little heads up bet for the rest of the weekend. All right, boys. Well, I enjoyed another podcast, enjoyed another day of watching the Open at Hoylake. I've loved Hoylake. I know it hasn't given us the most sexy leaderboard ever, and therefore the telecast feels a little jebby, but I think the golf is very, very high quality, and I tip my media cap to Brian Harman.
Gotta tip the cap to Harman.
Either Barbie or Oppenheimer tonight for either of you guys?
I might need to go do it tomorrow morning.
You might take your eye off of.
What time is Tommy off?
I think 10:30. Solly said, I believe.
10:30 Eastern.
Might be tough to catch him before then.
Yeah. I might have to call
The
him
real
up, tell him to open the theater for me.
It's the real sickos in there early on a Saturday watching Oppenheimer.
If I'm not taking my Orlando to Manchester flight, then I might need you guys to open the theater for me.
Deej, I won't be able to see either this weekend, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to wait till next week, but I tremendously look forward to it.
All right. Well, I'm going to see Oppenheimer tonight. So if I'm, if the life is gone out of my eyes tomorrow, you'll kind of know why. Or the U.S. Navy blew up my house. One of those two.
Or the Russians.
One of those two things has probably happened. But I look forward to as right now. I'm planning to be with you guys tomorrow. Gentlemen, thanks for joining. Thanks to Eddie Pepperell for hopping on. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. We'll be back again tomorrow. Let's run it back. Go Tommy, TC. I'm ready for it.
Thanks to Tommy. Thanks to Finno.
Thanks to just all the people of Northwest England.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. Thanks to Ben for running the 1s and 2s as well. And we will catch you guys tomorrow. Cheers.